What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode of the CultureVerse podcast. As we have a guest today with us, Saint Loud Studios, also known as Connor. You can go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Tell us about your content and whatnot before we start our episode.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Like Gabe just said, my name is Connor. I'm from St. Loud Studios. My podcast is called the Project Podcast, and it's a little bit of it's two different things. The first thing is a discussion podcast, a lot of sports, a lot of what you guys do. Honestly, I have a couple different guests on usually. And the other half is a bunch of different interviews. I've interviewed musicians, I've interviewed business owners, uh, coaches. We have some really cool interviews coming up in the future. I hope all of you will check out my content, and I really appreciate you guys having me on today. It's great.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome to hear more about your stuff. But yeah, obviously we're not just having a guest on for any small movie. This isn't just some release. This is the Superman film that just dropped officially today. I believe we all went and saw it early as well, just
Yeah.
yesterday. And then some of us here have seen it multiple times as well. But yeah, James Gunn's Superman. We're going to get right into the review here. So, since Connor is our guest, he will have the stage to bring up the first kind of talking point. So, Connor, the stage is yours to throw out the first one.
Well, thank you for letting me go first. I want to open the floor with a discussion about the main three people: Holt, Brosnahan, and Corn Sweat. I think the main thing you can get from this is if those three characters are successful, this movie's good no matter what. Like no matter what happens with this is going to be a at least solid movie. Obviously, it was much better than that. It was an amazing movie. I had a great time watching it. But if you had to, if between all of us, if we had to pick who was the best of the movie, who performed best, I will
I
open
have
the
an easy
floor
answer.
and say Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor.
I 100% agree.
I don't think there's anybody else who could have done exactly what he does. So he's so maniac,
Hmm.
so yet a little charismatic, but every
Hmm.
time he does something, like when he threw that pencil at his girlfriend,
Hmm.
you're like, ah, he's a real asshole. But he's super charming still. It's like really weird, and I just don't know if anyone else could have done that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna leave it up to anyone else if they want to chime in on that.
Literally
Yeah.
30 seconds after the pencil throw, he then immediately makes me laugh by doing the little cup toss right next to the people and
Yes.
taking
Like
it out.
slowly knocks the
Which is
other
an
cup
asshole
over.
thing, but it's funny.
Yeah.
But Gabe, go
When you
ahead.
mentioned when you mentioned Nicholas Hoult, like in this movie in general, like I absolutely agree that he is just such a powerhouse in this. The scene that does it for me is the end when he's been essentially defeated. The emotions that he shows. I mean, he's literally crying. He's so angry, he is crying. Like, and we were talking about how funny that scene is because then it cuts to David Cornsweet, who's Superman's literally like rage baiting him, just laughing, like got his
Yeah.
arms crossed, smiling. But that scene from Nicholas Hoult is like seriously like incredible acting. He's just the rage that he is able to display is so like the word maniac is good. He feels actually like unhinged and just at no point was I like upset about that casting and yeah, he really hit it home for
No,
me
the
at
the monologue he has during the fight with Ultraman is among the
least.
best. And I think the thing that made Holt stand to me is every time he's on the scene or on the screen,
Mhm.
he stole the show from me. I think, and that's hard to do when you're in a movie where a character like Superman. And but whenever Holt was as Lex Luthor, I was like, this is the most captivating character I'm seeing right now. Every time he was on the screen, I don't know that his performance. I will agree he had the best performance.
I thought all three of them did amazing. It's really
Oh
hard for me to
yeah.
really choose one. If I had to lean one way, it would be David, but Nicholas Holt was amazing as well. I when I see Nicholas Holt on screen as Lex Luthor, it's almost like a perfect comic accurate representation. He's amazing. Same with David Cornsway and Rachel as well. But David Cornsway in this movie, I thought was awesome. He got me choking up a few times, especially the last speech he gives to Luther. That was awesome.
That was really their driving kind of like motive there at the end was that speech about being human and whatnot. I mean, one issue I've had in the past with the character of Superman in general is kind of that maybe not cold, but the attitude, the personality. He's hopeful, but he's very stoic. He's very noble.
Hmm.
This David Cornsweet Superman, He was funny. He was like relatable. He was making jokes. He was smiling. Like I felt the hope, but I also felt like I genuinely like this character. Like I'm interested in this person, and I don't think we've ever seen like a real strong take of that. And like Henry Cavill, he did a great job. He was very just everyone likes Henry Cavill as an actor, but
Cool.
cool,
Yeah.
exactly. He was cool, but he had that kind of like, I mean, this guy's a badass, but like, I don't feel much more than just like, wow, when I'm watching him. David, I was feeling
They treat
emotional.
him like a god in those movies.
They do, and David Cornsweet makes me like literally. I'm constantly laughing. I'm smiling at the amount of hope that he's displaying when he's talking. The romance, Cornsweet and Brosnan did incredible. I mean, their chemistry was insane. So their romance was powerful. Everything that David did and Rachel did as their characters worked for me in a way that it's never worked for me before with this character. So that big three, kind of like you said, Connor, if those three do good, you have a good chance of this movie being like at least successful. Those three did great. I mean, those three were everything and more in terms of characters.
Well, with Corn Sweat, it feels, and this is a compliment to the movie, it feels like a Saturday morning cartoon. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like a movie. It's supposed to
Mhm.
feel like a comic book, and that's
Mhm.
what it does the best, I think, compared to the other Superman movies. Obviously, the first Superman, very hopeful, very cheesy in a good way, kind of campy in that way. A lot like the Raimi movies, like the Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Mhm.
This felt it was very colorful. It had a lot
Yeah.
of charm. It was very sweet. Had a lot of the family element. We've seen a lot of gun movies, although I think it feels a little out of place here compared to the Guardians movies. But either way, I still enjoyed it overall. But my point is that it feels like a Saturday morning cartoon to get to my original point, and I think that is what it does best.
Yeah, I think Gunn does a great job in all of his movies of putting his actors in a place to succeed. I think that
Mhm.
every time you see a Gunn movie, I feel like you kind of he writes his characters to have some dynamic that you can either relate to or just like intrigued by. I'm thinking of like the High Evolutionary, horribly evil
Yeah.
and tormented character, but it's so captivating to where every time he's on the screen, kind of like Holtz, those villains that are so
Mhm.
deeply hateful that you're just like, wow, this is intense. But
Mhm.
I think that Gunn always writes good characters that have multiple they're deep, their depth. I think that, and that's a common critique of this movie too, is a critique I see is that the side characters in this movie are not like they not deep or they're too shallow or something like that. But I think they don't have to be. I think that's kind of a new point I kind of want to bring up is a lot of the characters in this, like a lot of the side characters, I think didn't need to be fleshed out like Hawk, like the Justice Gang. I don't think we need to see their origin in this movie or
Yeah.
something like Lex's, like how he became to be evil. I think that
Mhm.
the side characters we get, or we get enough of them to where I think if we'd have gone even more, it would have felt overbearing and kind of like directionless. So I don't know what your thoughts on the side characters were.
I agree absolutely. I mean 100%. One of my biggest concerns going into this movie was when I saw those trailers, I was like, I'm seeing a lot of characters, and I'm
Mhm.
afraid that that's going to be a problem, and that we're not going to be able to focus on just Superman, Lex, and then Lois Lane as well. They did a great job at making sure that you know that those are your main characters, and everyone else is here to definitely provide like an entertaining atmosphere and a good like definitely a good what if that kind of makes you curious like when will we see Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner again? Because we know he's not gone. Like I want to see more. I know most people do, but and same goes for Hawk Girl and same goes for Mr. Terrific. They all did good. So I agree 100% with you, Kale. I mean, they did a great job at because like you said, if they would have given you backstory, you start bumping up that runtime slowly to it'll get to the point where you're just not interested in all these characters because this is Superman's movie, not Superman and the Justice Gang. So they did a great job, and the castings were very good. I mean, I'm going to bring it up again. Nathan Fillion, I just there's got to be that little bit of gun humor, and Fillion clearly does it perfectly. He did it amazing in Guardians 3. He was hilarious, and I thought he was great in this too. And then, I mean, Elizabeth Merced, she did what she could. She didn't have as much screen time. She was kind of her lines were pretty minimal compared to Fillion and Mr. Terrific as well, but just all around great side characters. I thought I really enjoyed all of them, and my favorite of all of them though was I thought Jimmy Olsen was amazing.
Wow.
I
I wish we
love
got more.
Jimmy. Yes,
Yeah.
and apparently there's a rumor that Gunn is thinking about doing a spinoff for Jimmy Olsen, which interesting. I'm not sure if that would be like a special, like an hour special, because I don't think there's enough content to make like a TV show out of Jim.
They should just do a Daily Planet spinoff,
Yeah,
like
they
some
could just do that.
investigative journalism stuff.
Yeah, that would
She-Hulk
be.
style.
Oh.
No,
Any,
no.
probably not.
Working
Maybe not.
included or not included?
I'm not sure.
It is now.
Oh, okay.
But well, and that's actually a good point as well, Tyler, is just doing a whole Daily Planet because they did kind of try to slip in a couple of the other like Daily Planet people with Perry White and then Kat and all of them, and that felt it didn't feel forced, like it didn't feel like you needed to know who they were, but you did because if you know about Superman, you know who they were. But it was also just kind of like a cool when they all get together and go on Mr. Terrific's ship. Like that was just kind of an interesting thing to where you could expand on it in a TV show like that, but you don't need to because it's not important. Those weren't your characters. So all around, there's not really a character in this movie that I didn't like. I mean, I don't think anybody was like frustrating me or made the viewing less good. So yeah, that's my thoughts on your thing, Caleb. If anyone else want to chime in, they sure can.
Well, when it comes to James Gunn, I know Gabe, you were talking about how you were nervous about all these characters going in, and
Mhm.
I've made it very clear going into this movie that I'm not, because James Gunn has made several of these movies with numerous characters, and every single time he has nailed it. And going into this movie, I was not worried at all, and this movie proves yet again that James Gunn knows what he's doing, despite having all these characters. And not only with all these characters, he also is so good at making these comedic moments while also separating all these serious emotional moments and not interfering with the comedy as well. Like a lot of like the interview scene with Lois and Clark at the beginning was so good. There was humor, there
Mm.
was anger. It was awesome. And then to add in the oh gosh, what was it? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. But just in general, James Gunn is he's awesome. He's so good at this.
Can I raise a question about James Gunn?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is he the most consistent superhero film director we have, or ever, even if we want to go that far? I'm gonna say yes,
I
just
think
based off. I think it's a safe yes, but because at first you kind of are like, are we sure? But when you break down everything he's made over the past like decade or so, they're all like great. Like every movie he's made
Mhm.
about superheroes is pretty great. But I'm gonna leave it open to the floor.
My answer would probably still be the Rooster Brothers, but I think
What I
Gunn
was
is a
thinking,
is a
maybe.
great superhero
I would say the
director.
Russos are the best. I think
Okay.
Gunn is the most consistent.
I
How are the
think
Russos not consistent in superhero genre? Is my counter to that. Since they
Well,
made
I think the
Winter
quantity
Soldier,
of
Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame
well,
back
I'll
to
go
back
stop
to
there
back
with
to back.
Endgame. The first
yeah.
half of Endgame, I think, is really, really bad, and they don't
Whoa.
do every
I
character justice just like
disagree
James
with
Yeah,
Gunn
that.
does.
he's interesting.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
I would agree. I'm leaning Jack's way as well. I think the
Okay.
Russos still have my number one spot, but
Yeah, not the
Even
there's
number
after
no
one
one
Electric
pick.
even
State?
there's no one even close for number two.
Does that
Electric
count as
State,
superheroes?
I'm
Does
not.
that
We're
count?
not.
That does not
Well,
count. Doesn't count. They're not
Chris
superheroes.
Pratt's a superhero, right?
I didn't see that
oh
movie, so
man.
I can't weigh in there.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
that's
so
that
bad.
that was the thing I was gonna bring up is if we're talking about superhero movies, then it's
Yeah.
the Russos. If you're talking about as a
Okay.
director, yeah, the Russos drop. They've made some not good
Thinkers.
movies outside of Marvel.
They did they
Is
make the Gray
crazy.
Man too?
Yes,
Yes,
they
they
did make
did.
a
Didn't
Gray
I
they?
don't even know
Man.
what
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, it's another movie that was horribly received.
They just take
Um,
their Marvel actors and then miss with other movies.
Pretty much. But in terms of superhero movies, I'm with Jack. But for number two, there's no one I think gets close to Gunn. I mean, I think Gunn
Sam
Not
is
Raimi
right
would
Raimi.
be your
there.
argument,
I mean,
probably. I would
Yeah.
say Raimi,
maybe
probably.
maybe
That's an
Raimi.
argument.
Yeah, Sam Raimi's
Gabe
there.
and I's hate for Multiverse of Madness would
Yeah, I
probably
just do
drag
not
that
like.
down to the floor.
Well, the thing that does it for me with Raimi though, that doesn't put him on Gunn's level, is Raimi's just done the three Supermans, and those are his big ones. Gunn's done so
Spider-Man.
many different things. Or sorry, Spider-Man. Gunn's done the three. Gunn's done the three Guardians. He's done the Suicide Squad. Now he's done Super. Like he's showing
Yeah.
that he has range. Where
Yeah.
like Raimi's kind of sticking to what he knows, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I love the three Spider-Man movies, but and then I'm not a like Jack said, him and I do not like Multiverse of Madness, and that's something that Raimi made as well. So that keeps him out of there for me. But yeah, Gunn is he's easily two for me. He could be one by the time Supergirl comes out. If I think Supergirl is really good, which I'm very excited for Supergirl, then yeah, he could pass. It depends. And then the same goes for the Russos with when Doomsday and when so the Russos and Gunn, in my opinion, are kind of button heads right now.
Could you make an argument for Coogler?
Oh.
As a director, yeah, but I don't
As
know
a
about
director
just
overall,
only two Black Panther movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
just with two black and one of
I'd
them.
say
I mean,
he's
the
up
second
there.
one's good, but it's
The
not
second
like
one is good, and it's not his fault that it struggled in ways because it gets flipped upon its head with the
You
loss of
lost the
Chadwick,
goat.
unfortunately. So that kind of gets flipped on its head. But yeah, Coogler's not quite there. I mean, I guess you could count Ironheart as well towards that since he's done superhero projects, but he's not quite. We'll see where
Just
that
a, just
goes.
just a
But
thought to chew on.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
not bad. I don't hate that at all. A point that I kind of wanted to bring up, what were you guys' thoughts on a lot of the so I know Tyler, you mentioned this already, but I want to get everyone else's thoughts on it. The distinctions between the humor and the emotional moments, because that's one of the biggest complaints I have seen people have in this movie. I've seen a lot of people say that that isn't done well, and that the humor often oversteps the serious moments and the tender moments. So yeah, I'll give my thoughts after some of you guys go, but I definitely want to hear.
As almost certainly the guy with the most pessimism towards this movie, that was not an issue I had with this.
Mhm.
That's something that James Gunn has always had that I enjoy. And that's what part of what made Marvel great
Mhm.
at the beginning run is being able to be serious and funny at the same time.
Yeah.
And so you need to be able to transition between those two things. If you're just dead serious the whole time, you're just going to do the Snyderverse all over again. And so, and Superman Clark is dorky. Like that's part of who he is. That's like having a Spider movie where he's not messing around ever. If this is
Yeah.
a Batman movie, maybe you have it a little more serious, but
Mhm.
for such like a I almost said immature. It's not that, but like
Well, he's
Dorky is a good word.
in a way, I don't like the word
he's just
childish, but kind of.
yeah,
He's got his
he has an
inner
inner
kid.
child to him.
Yeah.
Whimsy.
So it makes sense to have some humor
Whimsy.
sprinkled around in there. Also, how are you going to have your CGI dog for 190 minutes and then just like look at us with a straight face the whole movie?
Yeah, you
You
gotta have
you
fun
have
with
to
that.
mix that in there, and that's what he's been doing that. That's what made Guardians so enjoyable.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's not a problem that I had listed.
You
Connor,
you
you got
talked about the
something?
dog. I was gonna
Oh,
say real quick, the CGI of this movie was amazing. Like Crypto, when he was laying on Clark's stomach in his bed,
yeah.
it looked like a real dog. It was insane.
When
All
or
right, go.
when he's sitting on uh Lois's lap when she's driving the
Hmm.
he look that was very realistic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oddly realistic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I was just gonna Connor, did you have anything about the emotional beats in the story? Because I have something.
Uh, Honestly, I would agree with Jack on that. I'm a very critical guy when it comes to film, and because I want these movies to succeed, but I thought the humor and the heart were spaced out very well. In the moments where it was super dramatic, including I think the most emotional scene to me was the conversation Clark had with his father on the farm. That got me teared up a little bit, I won't lie. Anything with the father and a son and the dad saying
Oh,
I'm proud of you. It gets me every time. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a sucker
he
for it.
gets it. He gets
Normal
it.
But
people
it
probably
Yeah.
should be.
yeah, well right, but I didn't think that was like the tension wasn't broken by a stupid joke. It was broken to further the plot along, which is important to what the movie is.
Right.
I have other critiques of this movie I'll get to later, but that was
Mhm.
definitely not one. And I really appreciate the heart of all of James Gunn's movies. It felt like the humor was toned back a little bit compared to Guardians and even Suicide Squad. This felt a little
Especially
more serious,
Definitely Suicide
honestly, in
Squad.
my opinion. But
Yeah. Caleb, you want?
yeah,
like
Caleb, please.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll play devil's advocate mildly because I feel mixed on this, where I would say I lean that they handled it well, but I do think there are moments that are certainly undermined by humor. And actually, one of them is Tyler. You said it was great. I think the interview scene at the beginning is well handled until we get to about the middle proportion, and then it kind of like falls off the rails a little bit to where they're kind of playing on each other, and it works as a romance category, but I kind of wanted more of the serious side in that moment. But the thing with that is I like the humor of like the hashtag super shit. Like that's hilarious. So it's like it's really funny, and I can't knock that. But I wish we would have gone a different direction in that. But the worst example I have, I think personally, that still sticks with me even on rewatch, is when the message gets leaked or it's shown across, and she's having the conversation with Lois and Clark are having the conversation right before he leaves, with like the squid in the background. I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they start talking about like the punk rock bands, and it's like a very sentimental, intimate moment. And then they kind of like break off into like discussion about like punk rock and pop radio. And it kind of just only sets up to be a Crab Joys poster joke when they get back to his house. And I was like, I don't know. I just didn't like that moment because it was so great. And I was very captivated by she's like, I'm troubled and you're this perfect thing. And then it's like, let's talk about the crab joys. I was like, yeah, you almost had me with that. And I do think the romance is good overall, but I think there are moments where it gets hindered by the humor. But the humor in this movie is really well done. And there are funny moments, like the pencil thing that could be played off as really stupid, honestly, but it's funny because it's well done. So
Mhm.
there are funny moments that work. I just think that there are some times, maybe especially in the romance section, where I feel it is delayed a little bit, but definitely not like game breaking for me. But this is probably one of the bigger problems I have is there are some moments.
Caleb, can I kind of rebuttal part of that?
Sure.
In my opinion, the way I took it, the crab joys is a part of the sentimental moment to me. As he's
Yes.
saying, he talks about
Yes.
how he is punk rock, and in a way, being human and caring about people is him being punk rock. And the poster later is kind of like a callback to that. It's like he isn't just making it up, like that's part of who he is. He literally had a poster in his child, like in his bedroom as a kid. Like he wasn't just making a joke there. He was like, that's seriously like he's not kidding. Like it's almost like it's the way I took it, it's almost like I don't want to say that sounds so bad. He's like oblivious to the fact that
He's innocent.
yes, innocent, thank you. He's innocent to the fact that that's funny in that moment to me, and it's more of like a I'm serious, I think I'm punk, like maybe that's punk rock. Like maybe I'm caring about someone. So I can see where that does feel because they do kind of make a joke with it when like you're just seeing Guy Gardner in the back fighting it, and that is kind of like they're having this romantic moment, and then you're just like watching the city get attacked, and that's a little maybe like okay, like it's literally. By the way, that's literally just there. The only reason that's there is to have a really colorful background.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Only reason that's happening,
Well, I
which
remember we talked about it was going to be
it
Martian
works.
Manhunter. Remember we were like
Well, because when it
with
first came out,
the
everyone was like,
poster.
"What is that thing?
Yeah.
Like, what
Oh,
is that
it
color?"
was Brainiac's color scheme
Oh,
too.
Yeah,
Brainiacs.
That's
That's
people
what
thought
I
it
I
was
was thinking
thought
of.
that was
Brainiac.
who it was.
But so like I'm not rivaling what you're saying. I'm just saying that's how I took that scene.
Yeah.
And but I see what you're saying. Like
I that's
I can
that's
see it.
yeah,
And
those are my
obviously you're not
two
alone.
moments that I just specifically remember right now. But I think
Mhm.
there are maybe some minor moments. But again, I don't want to take it like I
Mhm.
hate the movie because of it,
No,
because
I don't think you
it's
do.
not. But I think there are a couple beats that are just kind of they kind of trip over themselves a little bit. But I don't
Mhm.
know. That's just my
I
opinion on
think the
some of the
funniest
scenes.
part of that scene is before that conversation happens when Peacemaker is like there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
not the funniest part. I laughed out loud when I saw it.
That
I,
was
I
It's
turned to
so
insane.
good.
my mom who I went with. We watched Peacemaker together, and I'm like, "Can you believe that he's in this right now?"
And
I thought that was funny. I don't know.
no, that was
Our theory
hilarious.
was
And it
like,
was
ooh, ah. It was like
dude, it was so unexpected. I just had no like expectations of anyone showing up. And he says some real funny stuff too, to
It took him,
calling out Superman. He's
yeah.
like making fun of him.
It
But
took him 5 seconds to start making fun of him for not killing people.
yeah. Um, let's actually kind of like change up here and get to some of the negatives. I mean, I think it's definitely worth bringing those up. Connor, I think you said earlier that you had one you wanted to mention.
Well, it's not like one thing specifically. It's a bunch
Yeah.
of like kind of minor things, but I would say the thing that sticks out to me if I had to pick a negative, and I do really like this movie,
Mhm.
when and this is a very brief part, but when the movie moves away from Superman and Lex Luthor, it kind of drags a little bit. When Superman is dealing with the kryptonite, and I get it, kryptonite is part of Superman's lore, I understand that.
Mhm.
It takes Superman out of the movie basically for like 10 15 minutes. And I like Mr. Terrific. I thought he was cool.
Mhm.
Kind of just an exposition machine for like half of his time. And again, I like his like 1.5 minute fight scene. That was
I like
awesome.
that
Mhm.
scene.
I thought it
That's an
was
awesome
very
scene.
fun.
Very
It was a
Guardians
good
like.
time.
Very James
Yeah,
Gunn. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
Guardians like. And then you're seeing it from Lois's perspective and not his. And I thought that was really smart.
Mhm.
But again, it felt like he was just there for exposition. And if it were Hawk Girl, it could have been Hawk Girl there, and same thing would have applied.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that could have been written a little better. And in that same time, Superman's basically out of commission, so we're just waiting for him to come back because we know he's coming back.
Yeah.
If I had to pick my biggest criticism of this movie, it would definitely be that.
I actually think that's pretty fair, but I think of less of that scene. I think more of the stuff with Jimmy and his girlfriend.
Really?
I like Jimmy and I think it's funny, but it also still kind of feels to me like she's also a bit of a plot device where all the
Yeah.
selfies in the background just happen to be exactly what they need. I was like, I mean, it's funny. Like I think she's funny, but it's the same thought that you're talking about where I'm like, we're kind of just like not like we're substituting time with Superman to watch Jimmy go hunt down his ex and get like stuff from her. So like it was funny, and that's probably more of my complaint is they sometimes use humor. Like the humor's mostly great, but sometimes I do think the humor's used just to kind of like fill time almost. And that's something that Gunn has kind of done before, and I'm not against it, but like in Suicide Squad, I think that happens a lot. A lot of times humor is just used as kind of like a means to move on. And there were some times in this movie where I remember thinking like okay, that was funny, but like you said, the second you're not involving Superman and Lex, the pressure is like multiplied by 10 to make everything really interesting. And a big example of that was everything they tried to do with Metamorpho. Like everything they tried to do with him was really heavy on like look at all these like when they were in the pocket dimension it was like look at all these colors, look at this place, look at all this going on, look at his abilities, and like it was interesting, but it still also at times kind of felt like you said, can we just when does Superman get his powers back, like when do we get
Yeah.
back to them fighting? So I get what you're saying. I also had something similar to that written down, which is what I was adding on to.
Yeah,
Jack.
I
Oh,
said this
sorry.
to Gabe.
Yep.
I said this to Gabe during the movie. I think he also said it to me too. The first half does kind of drag just a little bit, but I will
Okay.
say I rewatched the movie today, and I thought it flew by. I thought the 2 hours flew by in the second watch. It's kind of similar with Transformers One for me. When I watched it the first time, I thought the first half dragged, and the second half went crazy. And same thing with this. The first half after the second rewatch, it flew by for me. So maybe it's just you're wanting more, and when you know it's not happening, then you just enjoy the ride kind of thing. So
I think it's also when you know what's coming, like you know how good it gets in the second half, so it just kind of
hmm
like makes the first half feel less problematic because you know it's
hmm
going to get really good. But yeah, I do remember. I still haven't seen it a second time either, but that is another thing I thought for sure was that, especially particularly the first like 20 minutes just feel a little long to me for some reason, and hopefully rewatch answers that. So, yeah,
Uh,
Jack, you're up.
Jack, you can go, Jack.
Hey, I'm also gonna rewatch it. I think tomorrow maybe. So
Mm.
that might open my eyes to a couple other things. Before I play my little devil's advocate role, I would just like to throw out there that I pretty much completely agreed with everything we talked about with David Cornsweet and Nicholas Hoult. I I probably would say David Cornsweet was my favorite aspect of it, just because I think he meshes with James Gunn's filmmaking or storytelling style a little bit better in terms of like him being literally the heart of the story. Like if you don't have him, this movie does not have the same meaning without him. So that was probably my favorite aspect of this. And there's several other things I really liked about this movie. But to be the bad guy, um, I actually felt kind of oppositely about the lack of like exposition and setup that this movie had. I like even right off the gate just did not love the idea that we were just jumping in on this character 3 years into the making. And a lot of that comes from this being the first movie. Um, I think it's really important to start up this universe like he wants to have these build up these characters over time. And I know we talked about how like these side characters, even though I liked several of them, they don't Caleb mentioned that they don't necessarily need backstory. I would argue they don't even really need to be here at all. Like
I
at
agree
this
with
point,
that.
even though I like them. Like I think they're all casted well. I really liked Guy Gardner. I liked Mr. Terrific, but that we really get no explanation as to where they came from, how this Justice Gang started, how they have their powers, why they do what they do. I don't know anything about any of these side characters, so I just really didn't care about most of them under the surface level of, oh, I think they're cool or funny. And so I would rather have seen them come along later or even just have a little bit of story or building to go with them for me to care about them. But I mean, once again, that's not like something that just tanks this movie down. It's just something I didn't like. And then just in general, like world building with, I would rather, sorry, here, I wrote this down already. We could have pretty much told the same story, but with Superman basically just starting out as a hero. We could see him as a young adult, which he already pretty much is. And we could see him starting out as Superman, having Lex like immediately start out hating the guy because he's instantly jealous, he's instantly overshadowed. You can still do the exact same thing with that. You can still have the message messed up and Superman has an identity crisis, which, by the way, that was my favorite aspect of the story by far, was him getting the rest of that message and having to rediscover who he is. That was amazing. I'm just saying we could have done all of that and started out the universe more like on the ground and taken off with this movie rather than just already starting with this established character and jumping right into the mix of things.
Like, I actually think I agree with that. I think this is my one big problem with this movie. This is my biggest problem.
Yeah.
I think the first act of this movie really struggles to get people that aren't super big DC fans invested in the universe. I think that starting Superman as a established superhero works for this movie. I really think it works. I can't critique that at all. I just think I would have preferred it to see an origin story rather than kind of what we got. I love what we got. I think it could have been better if we would have started as more of an origin story. I think that's like the big thing that happens. I think there feels like a lot of DC buzzword jargon happening towards the beginning where it's just kind of like places and characters are kind of like being tossed at us. And I am a super, super DC casual. So it was kind of hard for me to feel like I'm getting welcomed into this world and get invested when I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. Like, who is this person we know? Like, I know who he is, but like, I want to see it from Gunn's perspective.
Yeah,
Like, I don't want to like base my knowledge of Superman based on the other projects.
that's fair.
I want this to be a single thing. And I think that this doesn't ruin the movie for me at all. It's just a problem that I think I would have amplified it for me.
Yeah.
I just really think the first act really struggled to hook me. And actually going back to what Tyler said about rewatch, I actually raised my score on rewatch. I think that this is way better on rewatch. I think that the first act is a little bit better, but I do think there are problems with the first act. And I think that is largely what holds me back from giving it an even higher score.
Mhm.
I it's just a preference thing at some point because like it's not even an objective thing. Like I think Jack and I are on the page where it's like we would have wanted to see more from him like as an origin story. But I think for me personally, I don't know how Jack feels this. I think it works what we got, but I just would have preferred to see that. Basically, what I was saying.
Can
I
I?
would add to that, Caleb, that could you imagine like some things I would have loved to have seen start out. Like I don't need him to be like a high schooler or a little kid when he starts out. I just want to see the start of him saving people, helping people. Could you imagine we get to watch him fall in love with Lois Lane instead of that being already a relationship that happens? Could you imagine seeing him suit up for the first time and actually go out and save people for the first time and see the world initially react and like literally showing up as a beacon of hope when no one's seen him before? I just I would just rather start. This is the start of a universe. I'd like to start out of the starting gate rather than like jumping in the third quarter.
Two things I want to mention. Yes, I can imagine that because it's happened in all of the other Superman movies. I don't
Do it
think you
better.
need to. You don't need to keep doing it. We know the story. We
Yeah.
know how
It's the
he.
Batman thing.
Well, that's the other point I was
The
going to bring
Batman
up.
thing is a Spider-Man thing. We don't need origin
Except
stories.
for Spider-Man
Correct.
started on Civil War. That's like 17 movies into the universe. This is the first movie. I do not want to watch Iron Man where he's already in the Iron Man armor on the first movie.
Well, this was the other thing I was going to bring up. This reminds me a ton of the Batman, where this wasn't a problem for us in the Batman. He was already established and he was just young. This is a young Superman. He's only been Superman for 3 years. He is a young Superman. Like he isn't all established, almighty, been a hero, been a seasoned vet. He's still not great at this. Like he's still learning the ropes. He doesn't go around saving every single individual, doing every single right choice. The movie literally starts with him causing a global problem because he made his own decision and is now reaping the problems of that. Like he isn't a vet, and it's not the origin story because they're like, you know, the origin story. You don't need to see that. It's the here's a very young Superman in a world of seasoned superheroes like the ones we see, and he's going against them. He's doing his own thing. He's literally making his own decisions because he's young. He's a new Superman. So like to me, how is this any different than the Batman, where the Batman introduces a young Batman and doesn't give us the backstory? Like, how is that? And like, I'm not particularly targeting you, Kale, but like, you love the Batman. Like, to me, like, how is that not a problem in the Batman, but it's a problem in this? That's where I'm.
I would
Well
also
said.
say I don't want an origin story. I didn't ask for that. I want to start as him starting as Superman. I don't need him as a kid growing up and watching him go through his life. I don't need to see Krypton blowing up and them sending him here. I just want to see him literally starting out as Superman and not have the Justice Gang established, his relationship established, his career's already established. He's already like been a multi-time hero in the Batman. Oh, and in terms of like making his own decisions, I didn't even get to see him make that decision. It already happened before the movie started. And then in terms of the Batman is so lost. He doesn't have any of his life figured out whatsoever in that movie. He's literally only Batman. And it really does, to me, that really does feel like he's almost kind of starting out as Batman because he hasn't really fought anyone of any notoriety at all. It's just been criminals that he's beating the shit out of. And it doesn't feel like much has happened in terms of that. He's not even that close with Jim Gordon yet. Like that relationship develops. He doesn't know who the Penguin is. That has to develop. I just I don't know. It just feels different to me. I don't know if it will ever make sense. That's just like the way it felt for me. I just wanted that to play out differently.
One
Jack. Oh, you go, Gabe.
one thing
Best part about
Batman
having multiple
has
people.
one thing Batman has already done in that series is he put Joker in prison. That's a pretty decent feat.
I
And
don't even remember
he
him
knows
doing
who the
that.
Penguin is.
Like
He already became the Joker?
yeah, the end credit shows him
I
in
thought he was
prison.
just crazy in that scene. I didn't think he was
No,
already the Joker.
he's in prison
No.
because he was
Yeah.
Joker.
Well, I
They
would put
put
that as a
that.
con for that movie then. To be consistent. That's how I would feel.
How is that a
I would
con?
want to see the origin of the Joker.
Okay, they can't show you every single individual second of this
I
character's life.
think you should.
Then we're gonna have 4,000
Not
movies.
every single individual second. I would like to see how his main villain is started,
Well,
though.
they weren't
That
trying to.
would be
They're trying to
nice.
switch it up. They're trying to change it up and not just do the
Don't.
same thing. Do otherwise you're just
Do it
copying and
differently,
pasting
but better.
movies.
No, not the
You're
same.
just
Do it
doing the
different,
same
but
thing but
better.
slightly different.
I need to see these things happen. You can't just
You don't have
assume
to
that the
see
viewer goes
everything.
out of. I do not need to go watch the three Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies to figure out what's going on with Tom Holland Spider-Man. They go back after they establish his character and show what's happening. I should not have to watch a completely unrelated Superman movie from 45 years ago to know what happened in Superman's
You don't
life.
have to.
What do
You
I have to
don't
do?
need
Read a
to.
comic book?
They explain this in the movie. The movie explains his origin. They literally
I
explain how
I
he's
need to
here, the
see
message
things
from his
happen.
family, everything. So you just have to see it. You can't
Even
just,
Guardians of the Galaxy, where we're literally dropped in the middle of all this shit, goes back and explains what happened to Gamora. Goes back, it shows Peter Quill right off the bat. It shows how these people started. It even goes back and shows the damn raccoon's origin story.
What about the
I
10 years where
The
Star-Lord was flying
damn
around?
raccoon. Put some respect on his
What about
name,
the 10
please.
years where Star-Lord was flying around being a Ravager? What about that?
Why would I need to
you
see
raise
that?
big? Why are we raised big?
I don't need to see that at all.
That so why
It's
do you
not
need to see
integral to his
everything else?
character. The origin of the arch villain is integral to the story.
Oh,
Him
God.
going around sleeping with alien chicks and robbing people is not important.
It's not?
I think it's
I
pretty.
mean,
All
I would
right.
probably watch a
You
series
are.
of that, but
Caleb, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, based on the thing about Batman, I think that's a fair comparison. I would counter by saying I think we see Batman grow more in the Batman than we see Superman grow in this movie. I feel like a lot of what Jack said. What do we see Superman grow in this? I mean, he has to.
Batman
He has to
would
kind
kind
of.
of agree.
Batman just grows in the sense that he understands that he can do more to help. Superman literally has an existential crisis about who he is, and then fixes it by the end.
although
Right?
Superman
But I
kind of
feel
just
like-
realizes that he doesn't
They're
need
very
other people
similar.
to determine
They
who
are.
he
They are
is.
similar, but
I think they're just
also
very
don't-
similar. They
I
both
I think we
realize
just have more
more
patents in the DCU. I don't know.
No, stop.
Yes,
I also
yes,
think-
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Oh my
I kind of think it goes back
yes.
to
I
more. I
gets
just
it.
think I like Batman
Yeah.
more as a character as well. So I feel
That
like
helps.
me growing more with Batman feels better than me growing with Superman. I also, what Jack said too, I don't think it needed to be an entire origin story. I think you could have added another 20 minutes to establish more. I think it would have been
20
cool to see it.
minutes?
But like I said, I think what we got works. But there is an alternate movie of this where I think I also like more. So I don't know if it's a problem necessarily, but I do think I would, like I said, I think it just would have made it a little bit better. But I also don't hate it for this. So I think, like I said, I really like this movie. It's just my preference on that. I don't know how else to like explain it to you. I don't know.
You
Because it is
want
fair.
20 more minutes of this?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could have done more. I think
Really?
2 hour
This is a
runtime
perfect
2 hour
perfect
runtime is what a superhero movie probably
Perfect.
should. Unless
Caleb
it's
wants
like
to go back to 2 hour, 40-minute run
yeah,
times.
well, obviously for like big movies like Avengers movies, yeah, you
The
can have
Justice
a
League movie
runtime.
that will
But
come out
like
eventually.
a simple
Yeah.
movie
Like
you
the Snyder Cut, yeah.
yeah, you do
No,
not
no, maybe not that. But
Isn't that
Like-
one like 4 hours? What
It
is
is,
just-
yeah.
It is,
It's
yeah.
loud.
black and white. Yeah.
yeah,
I
let's
know.
let's
'Cause-
not
but
even
it is a fair assessment. I think it more just comes down to like my what's the word I'm looking for? My association with Batman more than Superman. I guess.
And
Your
I
preference?
can't argue that. I mean, because I like Batman more than Superman as well, so I can't argue that. And The Batman is one of my favorite
I also
movies
just like the vibe of the
ever.
Batman more too. So it's like,
So like I'm not saying that
I mean, it's fair.
if you like the Batman, you have to like this movie too. I'm not saying that, but that was something I noticed the second I walked out of the theater was how similar these two characters were and how similar their movies are in the sense of these characters being young, already established heroes who are trying to figure out how to be the best versions of themselves. Like that immediately clicked with me. If either Tyler or Connor want to add something, definitely can.
Tyler,
Gabe and
I
I
mean,
please.
went to war.
It's been a second.
yeah, I mean, I
Well,
mean,
I don't
I,
want to
I
just talk
agree with
over.
just about everything Gabe said with his little monologue thing comparing the two movies. I thought that was brilliant. I couldn't even think about that. But I will say, when we first watched this movie, I did think we, to an extent, jumped in like too quickly. Like I do agree with Jack that I do think we should have saw him go to Bravia and do all that stuff. But at the same time, I do like the idea of jumping into this universe the way we did that James Gunn intends because we don't need to see all the stuff we have seen multiple times over and over again. So there's that, my take on it.
I don't think we need more origin. I mean, if you want to make them younger and you want to make them first starting out, fine, whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna. We're arguing nitpicks at that point. That's fine. If you want to really go that road, I don't care. But I don't think we need 20 more minutes of Superman 2025. But I think that this movie was well paced in that way. So I think that if we made him younger and if you want to go the route where he's just first learning how to be Superman, sure, it would work. But this movie works either way. And it's like, I don't, we could argue this and that's totally fine. If you feel that way, if any of you feel that way, that's, you're entitled to your opinion. But I think I'm happy with how it turned out, to be honest. And then my other thing is, when are we getting the Snyder Cut watch along podcast? That's 4 hours long, where we're all here together.
I
I haven't
mean,
seen either version
I
of
haven't
Justice
seen
League, so that
either.
would actually be kind of interesting, the authentic reaction.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Snyder Cut, but I've seen the Justice League, so not
we'd
I
be
very
did I did a terrible job keeping up with the DCEU, but obviously there was a
not
reason.
much to keep up of. So
Yeah.
we'd be
Yeah.
pausing it like every 3 minutes just to like rag on it. Like, okay, wait,
Who's
we gotta
that
rewind.
guy?
Like, no, that's yeah, I think Caleb was also saying this as well, but that's the good point you bring up, Connor, is that it works the way that Gunn did it. I mean, you can want more, but like the way he did it, it worked. I mean, at least I think we all think it worked. Whether we wanted it to be better or not is one thing, but like it's not like it was just awful and he handled it horribly and it was introduced to like it worked and it was enjoyable in that sense. So, if anyone wants to bring up a positive or a negative, feel free. I mean, I don't want to just stick on the negatives now after we just went to war for a few minutes.
I still love you, Gabe.
the one true negative I really had with this movie,
Oh boy.
is the flying. I was not a big fan of the. I've
Hmm.
never been a
Really?
big fan of the face
It looked like
shots
Adam
while
Warlock.
flying. I'm not. I've never been a big fan of those.
I feel conflicted about it too, Tyler, honestly, because sometimes it's like kind of cool, but also like it does sometimes feel a little cartoony, like overdone, where it's like he's like that.
Yeah.
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 Like,
The
all
only thing I've
right,
ever thought is
okay.
how else do you do it?
I think that's kind of the intent as well
Well,
to
there's other
feel
ways.
comic
And
booky. Like
that's
it
why I feel
feels.
mixed
yes.
about it. That's
That's
why I
really
feel
the
mixed
point.
about
Like
it.
so, like I loved it. I pretty much anything with Superman using his powers I thought was insane. Like whether it was fighting, flying, the laser vision, like all of it was just super enjoyable. That was one thing I did think is like in the first half I was like, all right, we've seen him save a lot of people. We haven't seen him fight. Then when he fights with Ultraman in the second half, it's like, all right,
Mm.
this is what I wanted. The shot of him, okay, here is one thing I'll say. Trailers gave way too much. The trailers gave away
Hmm.
too many
They
really
always
cool
do.
scenes.
They
I
always do.
really wish we wouldn't have seen the scene where he punches the teeth out of the raptor. That would have been awesome to not have known was happening. I really wish we didn't show all the flying when he's flying through the fire. I wish we like they gave away a lot. I wish they wouldn't have shown when he does the laser vision and shoots everyone around the circle. I wish like the trailers are just and I thought Gunn would be like a little more cautious of that, but at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter if it's your favorite director in the world. They're gonna make the trailers because it makes money and it advertises, so they're gonna do it. But yeah, the anything with Superman's powers in this movie, I was absolutely like locked in. It was the best I've seen from any Superman project. It was incredible. That was like one of my biggest pros actually was the CGI of everything Superman related. And same goes
Mhm.
for Crypto. I was worried that Crypto was going to be like almost too powerful and like defeating like enemies on his own, but instead he's just useful. Like he's genuinely helpful to get
Sometimes.
Superman back on his feet, specifically the final fight with Ultraman when he gets him off of him and then he's able to fight him. Like Crypto is handled so well where he doesn't. Jack, you clearly do not agree with this.
Uh-oh.
Crypto is handled very well in my opinion, where it's like he just feels like he's there as like his genuine buddy, but he's useful. He's not his own hero. He's useful in my opinion. So I loved that.
Quick thing, I just want to say the sound design of the eye lasers,
Oh,
immaculate. When he like when
sound
he like
design.
when he spins in circles with the Raptors, it goes
Yeah,
boom.
yeah.
That was
In
awesome.
IMAX, that was crazy.
That was
How
crazy.
many of the Raptors do we think are dead?
All of them.
You
None
don't
of
think any
them.
made it?
I don't know.
Some
None
of
of
them just
them.
had like sears in their armor and they were on the
Probably,
ground.
probably none of them. Because if Gunn wanted to, he would have. We would have known.
What about the one that got his face punched out?
He's just knocked out. He's fine.
He's just knocked out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, not clean out, fell all the way to the earth. I'm sure he's good.
I think
He's
what
wearing
Jack's
armor.
saying is he wants a sequel just about the Raptors, and he wants
Yeah,
3.5
yeah, of
hours
course.
A rated
of
They're
R
gonna need
backstory.
story.
origin. Every single one of them, I want to know where they grew up, what
You're
sports they
hired for
play.
Marvel now, Connor, by the way.
They need Disney Plus stuff. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
That's good. That's good. Connor, was there anything else you wanted to bring up specifically?
I loved the Fortress of Solitude
Yeah.
so
Mm.
much, and I
Yeah.
think they did such a good job. And it's weird because it's sort of a hard thing to get right because if you make it look too, and I know I compared it to a Saturday morning cartoon, but if you make it look too cartoonish, it can almost feel like totally separate from Metropolis and all that. But it's pretty realistic, and I like the robots, and I like all the stuff that happens there. And whenever we're there, it feels like it's in the same world is what I'm trying to get at. Like if you are too make it too realistic or make it too cartoony, it might feel like it's unrelated to the actual rest of the movie.
Yep.
It's perfect. It works so well. And then when Supergirl comes back, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And my other point is this is pretty small. I love how James Gunn brings back all of his people. I think obviously Bradley Cooper playing Jor-El was I thought was awesome. I was like, oh my God, he has like one line and it's just repeated over and over again. But I thought it worked really well, and I'm like, oh, he could. Who would have thought he'd be a good Jor-El? Maybe we need a backstory on him. No, but seriously, and then obviously John Cena comes back. We
Hmm.
knew Nathan Fillion was going to be in it.
Yeah.
Sean Gunn's in it, like he's in all of James Gunn's movies.
Hmm.
I like that James Gunn does that. He brought the same cinematographer from the Guardians movies, and I was like, wow, it's not very often that a director will bring back his same actors and same crew to movies over and over again. And I think that's what I like about James Gunn the most. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's the end of my point right there.
Yeah, they also had Palm Clementif and Michael Rooker. They were both
That's right.
two
Oh
voices of
yeah.
robots as well.
I love
Was Palm
that.
Clementif? She was one
Palm
of the
was
robots.
actually in it
Is
at
that what
one
she
point as
was? I
well.
was gonna say I thought she was
She
in
was
it.
one of the
She
people
was.
who was like sitting on the couch when they were getting attacked at the end. She was like
I was
just an
gonna say I could
innocent
have
person.
sworn I saw her. I just can't remember who
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, I agree with that like 100%. It's just so fun to watch Gunn bring, and it's like it's not like he's just bringing back like actors just because he likes them. Like they're actually talented people and they're good actors, so it's not like he's just bringing them back because he likes them. I mean, and we see that work. Like we see that occasionally actors and directors just constantly work together, and it's just nice to see. So definitely a good one. I mean, first one that comes to mind for me is Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, just constantly using him, but it works. So it's like you're not going to complain about it. I mean, there's no reason to. So yeah, I agree with that. If anyone wants to kind of bring up one more point, then we can wrap up. Or if you guys just want to get straight to wrap it up, we can do that too.
I'm excited to see Neil Alcock and Supergirl. I think
Me
that's gonna
too.
be fun.
Me
Hmm.
too. I'm excited for that too. I like that that was a good way of connecting, trying to connect the start of this universe by already putting the two of them together. And in the short time they were together, their chemistry was really enjoyable. I loved how Corn Sweat's Superman was like just disappointed, but also like a bit concerned as well. I thought that was really funny. So, and then one more thing I want to mention, Alan Tudyk. Nice. I loved him.
Oh yeah, you can't miss.
That was awesome. Alan
No.
Tudyk is always
Oh,
great, so I loved him being in there.
I
Gary.
would throw out a prayer to see if I could get anybody
Oh,
to agree
geez.
with me, but they probably won't. This might just be me being me, and you guys know how I am. Was anyone else like having a problem with all the super like just crazy and advanced innovations in technology that was just rampant in the movie?
He's
Like
an
literally
alien.
just No, no, not him. Not him. Lex Luthor just being able to open up like pocket dimensions casually and teleporting across the world and being able to just flick a switch and turn a black hole on under the surface of the earth and having like a river lake to a
Suspension of
black hole.
disbelief, Jack. Suspension of disbelief.
I don't have that.
Well, I was gonna
Have you
say, Jack.
seen the Green Lantern
I
by
was,
chance? I
I
don't
have
know if you're
not.
aware, but he
I
can
have
create
not.
things with his ring
I was
that,
gonna say,
he can create
Jack.
middle fingers with
Yeah,
his ring.
that's
So
true. That's
I
true.
think I think
Well,
what we've
but Lex
learned.
Luthor's a guy. It's like a magic space ring.
I think what we've learned from this, maybe Jack, is that I don't think you are a comic book person,
I don't think you like
I'm
Superman,
not.
like
which is
at all.
okay.
I'm not a Superman guy.
Okay, there you
I should
go.
have established
It,
that.
it
They know that
it's
already.
just you just have to you just have to be able to believe that Lex is smart
Well,
enough to
and
be
like
able to
just being
build
able
these
to
things.
clone Superman from one hair, and he can just
It's
clone
not.
an entire Kryptonian.
It's also not going to be like realistically explained
Uh,
because we can't clone people, so they can't really show that. Like,
He wants a backstory on how he
I,
cloned.
yeah,
I
they
want
like,
I want an origin story
God,
on
the
cloning
spin-off they're
technology.
making.
I want vetted research papers
yeah.
on black holes.
It's
I'm gonna
just.
need Mr. Terrific to explain everything to me, please.
I mean,
Y-
can
That's what he's
you?
good for.
Connor already said he was an exposition machine. I just need to spend like two
It's
hours with
true.
him and I'll be good.
I just.
I
I
need
don't
to
know.
explain
To
it.
me,
Think of
it's
me like a 50-year-old uncle that you have.
that's not
That's
good.
how I need to be presented the
I hate
story.
when movies are just telling me what to think. I hate that because there's a
This is
couple
why I'm
moments in
so
this too where
afraid of
they're like,
watching
"This is
Interstellar
what's
because I
happening."
think I'm gonna have problems with it, and then people are gonna be like, "You're just an idiot. What's wrong with you?" And I'm like,
You
I'm
are.
so scared of
The
it.
the
Well, you can
Yeah,
the
dislike it. It's
Tyler's just gonna
fine.
hate on me. There's so much social pressure here.
Speak your mind.
the other
uh,
it's also
it's
just
funny.
kind of like the superhero genre. I mean, like, I don't think anyone could build what Tony Stark builds in
In a
Marvel in
They
cave
make that
MCU.
feel unreasonably real
with a
in that
box of
movie.
scraps.
No, not
Like
really, Jack. No one
they
is
do it
building
What do
that.
amazing,
you mean, Jack? What?
It's his
Are you
favorite. Iron
crazy?
Man's his favorite
bro.
character.
Bro,
That's why. Oh, come on.
he built it.
All
I
right,
don't
Thoughts
know what
on
to tell you.
Captain America in
it's the same
1940 getting
thing.
super soldier
Yeah. What
serum?
about
You
the
believe
super
that?
soldier serum?
Ice is
Absolute
not that
cinema.
powerful.
I
Bro, it's just PEDs. We have
it's
that.
not
In
just
1945. In
You
1945.
ever heard of Babe Ruth?
Wasn't that when Barry Bonds was playing?
What?
Yep.
You're trolling.
No.
You're baiting. You're
I'm
baiting.
joking.
Elric,
I'm
0 to
joking.
10, bro. 0 to 10.
I think you're just a Marvel guy, Jet. You're just not a DC guy.
I love the Batman
Hey, like that's
and the
yeah,
Nolan trilogy.
I
I'm
suppose.
big on
I
those.
suppose. Well, Batman's the most like grounded character in like DC. He
Did you
has
like
no
Ryan Reynolds'
powers.
Green
I liked
Lantern?
Wonder Woman.
I
I did
suppose.
not watch Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. That probably should be on the top of my watch list. I hear it's really good.
Okay,
So
well, why don't we get to our
It's not
little
very realistic though, Jack. Sorry.
let's get let's get to our little spoiler-free recap and rating out of 5. So we'll just kind of go across the top here. Caleb, you can go first. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Sorry, didn't mean to surprise you.
In summary, I said on my rewatch, I think this movie just kind of goes crazy. But even on the second watch, I think it elevated it. I just felt an inkling as soon as I left the theater the first time. I was like, I need to watch this again, like right now, to kind of pick my thoughts. Because I was at a 4 when I left yesterday, and I ended up at a 4.5 for on my rewatch. I think the love for this movie is just like it's warranted. I think there's charismatic heroes. It's an entertaining story and a universe I feel comfortable returning to now. I think I wish we could have gone in some different direction maybe at the beginning. I think it's something to consider. I think there's some problems, but I had a great time 2 times, which says something. So I recommend this. And yes, I did. I ended at 4.5.
Yeah, David Corn Sweat is the new Superman. I think he fits the character perfectly. It's an incredible casting, but it's not just him who brings the star power. Everyone in this movie who just acts their butt off, like everyone's amazing. The chemistry's great. But then even like further, James Gunn just brings back that really comfortable and reliable feeling that he brings to all his superhero movies that just leaves you just walk out of the theater smiling. Like you're just so glad that he's able to have creative control of a universe like this. And it's got me really excited to see where the DC universe is going to go. At first, I was at a 5 immediately, but I took some time, thought I should be a little more like realistic overall and give it a slightly less than a 5. So I'm at a 4.5. But
look at
yeah,
Tyler.
this is
Great word
this
choice.
this is a great movie.
You baited him harder than Jack would.
I don't think I did.
I'm gonna be like
All right,
5, 1.5 star. My bad. I
Jack,
messed that up.
you're up. You're up.
Okay. Well, I had a good time with this movie. this was a movie I very vocally expressed my worries and doubts about since seeing the first trailer. And some of those worries were correct. I did think there was too much going on. I thought we rushed into a couple things. But however, this is the best Superman we've ever had. I love the tone of the character. There was phenomenal sequences, especially action sequences, emotional moments that won me over overall to make this a generally positive movie for me. I would like to preface this and say that I fully expect this rating to go up when I see it a second time without expectations and just watching it for what it is. But after last night, I was at a 3. I thought this was a good movie and I enjoyed my time, and that's what I'm giving it.
All right, Tyler.
Well, as you guys know, I have been wanting to watch this movie ever since I heard that James Gunn was the head of DC and he was making this movie. And so this was at the top of my list for 2025. And at long last, we are finally out of the hands of Zack Snyder and his awful, awful universe. And James Gunn has stepped in, who I believe is the best comic book director. He has stepped in and given us a movie that symbolizes who and what Superman is while also doing justice to every single character that is on screen. This movie is funny, it's emotional, and just an amazing comic book movie experience. And I gave this a 5 out of 5.
All right, you're up, Connor.
Well, for a superhero movie that is directed by a guy that made the Guardians and Suicide Squad movies, movies with a lot of heart, movies with a lot more humor than I would hope for this movie. This movie is super sweet, it's super thoughtful, it cares a lot about the character of Superman, and it's still very charming, and it's very nostalgic. The Daily Planet is a major part of this film, and it's a newspaper company. It's not like it wasn't Man of Steel. It wasn't an internet company. It feels like a movie we've seen before. And perhaps that's because Superman is such an old icon, but maybe it's just because it's trying to invoke that feeling of warmth to its viewers. I've seen this twice. I went yesterday at a 2 p.m. showing, the first showing in my state of Rhode Island. And then I went this morning with about 8 people in my theater to an 11 a.m. showing at the same theater. Audio was kind of garbage. I don't know what happened there, but after two watches, excuse me, I've went from a 4 to a 4.5 star rating.
There we go.
Nice.
I mean, obviously, like if all of us enjoy it, Jack.
We all enjoy it. We all enjoy it. I had a
We
good
all
time.
had
I'm
no
going back.
major problems with it.
I'm going
That caused us
back.
to go on tangents.
If nobody disliked the movie, it's a good sign that it did its job. Gunn did its job for sure. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about just how excited they are for the future of this universe. I mean, he's got a lot of pressure on him. That's for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Connor, thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining
guys.
us. It was super fun. We'll make sure to get the people to try to check out your pod as well.
And come
Do all
back for an
that.
episode, another episode.
Yeah,
I'd
for
love
sure.
that. I have a
You can
great
take
time.
Caleb's spot.
Absolutely. Okay.
I'm sorry. It's like a running.
But yeah, as always, we really appreciate you guys checking out the episode. Please look at social media platforms for more content, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.